Okay, today we're going to be painting seashells by the seashore. Now, this is a very easy painting. It's fun, it's interesting, and it's going to require us to stretch just a little bit. But if we go through these step-by-steps together, we should have no problems having some fun, pushing around a few colors, and being creative. As always, let's go over our supplies real quick. Now, I have a cup of water that's actually going to be off camera. I have my paints, which consist of burnt umber, raw sienna, white, and blue. Then I have a piece of palette sheet for you to be able to put your colors on. Now, you could always use a styrofoam plate, a plastic plate, a paper plate, or anything that you feel comfortable with. We just try to provide you with everything. I have here my paper towel, which I like to fold and keep near me. I'm going to be placing it on this side in a moment. Over here, I have my plastic apron, which you could take the opportunity to put on. I have my spatula, which is here, which is going to help us take off our peels in the end. You could also mix paint with this if you want to. So I'll be putting that to the side for now. Put my paper towel over here for a moment. Put my palette sheet right here. Now we have our canvas, which has our peels on it. They look a little strange, but I like to put patterns that have other colors on it so that once we paint over it, you can see it a little easier when it comes time to peel them off. Also, we have two brushes today. This brush is a detail brush we're going to be using to paint our stars and our seashells when the time comes. And this is our small little yet effective brush that's going to help us create the majority of our water and our land. So let's get started by first going back to our peel-off paint packet, opening it up. Let's just take out all of the paints for now. And then we're going to put on the paper palette what we need to get started. Now, as always, before we get started, I'd like to first go through what we're going to do. Then I'm going to give you the step-by-step instructions. It's going to seem odd, so just stay with me. We're going to be creating a basic shape, sort of like this, which is going to be where our land mass is. Then we're going to paint the rest water with a nice wave that's going to be right about here. We're going to be speckling to give us some sand on the beach. Then we're going to be taking a detail brush after we peel off and decorate our shells. Okay, that being said, let's start with putting out our paints. So this for later, save this for later. The first color we're going to put out is the raw sienna. This is going to make up the majority of our beach. It's going to give us the opportunity to start our painting, and then we'll build from there. So I'm just going to take and squeeze out that sienna. There you go. That's good enough. Now I'm going to take this brush and define where my land mass is going to be. So I'm going to put a little color on the brush. And I'm going to say that the shape is going to be a little kind of wiggly. So I'm just going to come right about here. I'm just going to start to create what I'm going to call my beach area. Right? Go off on the canvas on an angle like so. So all of this down here will be my beach. Back here will be my water. And right along here will be my wave. So let's just start blocking this in so we can get this in. So we're just going to take some of that sienna. And we're just going to stroke the brush. Let some of the colors marbleize a little bit, or they don't have to all be flat. And if you want to change your beach line as you're painting, that's fine too. That's fine too. I'm just going to come in and quickly block in the beach. And remember, we will be painting up this way, so some of this is going to be just fine the way it is. It's going to come over here. It's going to block this all in. See, I'm using the flat of the brush, not the angle, but the flat of the brush just to stroke in some color. Come over here. And what I meant before by marble, you see how the colors aren't all flat? That's good. That'll pay dividends later. There you go. Paint right over the decals, or should I say the peel-offs. Peel-offs is a fun, easy, and interesting way to paint. It makes an artist out of almost everyone. And those of you who are artists, it helps you to even be more creative. Trust me. It may seem like babyish, but it's actually not. Here we go. Now we're almost blocked in. There we go. Now that we have this blocked in, what I like to do at this point is introduce another color. So I'm just going to lightly tap my brush, ring the bell, wipe my brush on the paper towel, and I'm going to pick up some of this burnt umber. Now we really don't need a lot of this, so I'm just going to squeeze out just a tiny bit from my bag. So let me just squeeze some. We go right up here. There. That's all I need. I'm going to take my brush, lightly tap it into the water. I am not going to wipe it off. I'm going to tap into the color, let it be a little soupy. I'm going to hold the brush sideways, and I'm just going to take the brush and flip it. And let all of this happen just the way it's going to happen. There you go. This will be like the sand on the beach, little rocks and what have you. We'll come back to those in a little while. But I just wanted to get some of this in. There. You can tap a little bit more if you like. And just sprinkle. There you go. I like to do this first. You don't want to be speckling our ocean just unnecessarily. Just going to tap just one more. Just a little bit more just to get up into this area here. Yeah, there. That's fine. Come down here. Okay, that's a good start. Now we're going to tap this, wipe it on a paper towel, and begin our ocean. Now we're going to be squeezing out both some blue and some white. So I'm going to put some blue for my ocean. I'm going to put some white for the lighter parts of my ocean and for my wave, which we'll do in a few moments. There we go. So now we have blue and white. From here, we're literally going to be painting on the canvas and mixing the colors as we go. I'm going to start by taking some of this white and just right along here, right along the top, I'm just going to come and draw me or paint me a little bit of a flat white line. One, to help get rid of some of those specks that are there. And two, to establish where my wave is going to be. Now, it may not show up right away, but you just got to trust me to do this process to help clean up some of the specks, establish where your waves are going to be. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to start back here and work our way forward. Just going to clean off my brush, wipe it on a paper towel. Now I'm going to pick up some of the darkest blue, and I'm going to start back up in here. I'm just going to go straight across. This is establishing the darkest part of the ocean. As we come forward, we'll lighten it up a little bit. But for right now, I want the darkest part, so I'm putting in some dark blue. I'm just letting it sit as dark all the way towards the back. There you go. It's the illusion of painting. The things furthest away are the darkest, closer, the lighter they become. So here, we're just going to establish a nice foundation of a nice amount of dark blue. We're just going to bring some of that dark in here. We're going to be putting some waves and some water movements on top of this in a few. but we really just want to start establishing the darkest parts of the ocean. Look at that. It's coming together so quickly. We're going to have plenty of time to work on those shells. Okay. Now it's almost time to start introducing some white. Now at this point, you can see where some of the canvas is showing through, and that's fine. I'm going to leave that because I have the majority dark that I want. I'm going to tap in only a small amount of blue. I'm going to come right along the tips just to see where I am. And if I see that it's too light, I'm just going to introduce some blue back to it. Because I don't want it to be too light right away, but I do want it to start to brighten up, if you will. Yeah, we could always go back and mix and match. So now you see where it's starting to break. And I'm not using a lot of white. I'm staying in the blue color because I want it to mix with the blue and just lighten up just enough to start showing some variations. It won't be till I get a lot closer down here where I'm going to be putting in more white. But for right now, I'm just introducing a small amount of white to break up my ocean. I could always reintroduce some blue right in the front of it to help break up my ocean. Introduce some white. Let it mix in. Yeah, like that. Little pockets like that are beautiful. This is nice. You see this area right here? This is actually really, really cool. Come here, start introducing a lot lighter. See? Then I'll go back into some dark blue and just introduce some of that amongst the shades and let the variations change because the water's moving. So this is going to help give that illusion. But I'm still trying to pull closer and maintain a lighter value as I approach that wave. Now, by the time I get to the wave, I want a really light blue. And I'm going to come back later, but I'm not going to go over it. I'm just going to come near it, paint near it, or right above it. Let me show you. Introduce some dark blue again, just to break it up. Go back to the white. Swipe the brush just for a second, just so it'll be light. Introduce some white. Yeah, see this light? Now I'm going to take the light and I'm literally going to just paint right above my wave, making sure that where the break is very light. See how that worked? Now we just introduce some more white here. The blue's already on the brush. Just going to let it touch some of this blue, bring it in. See, it's just being creative. See? See how it's starting to churn? I love it. Over here, maybe add a little, just a touch of dark. Wipe that off. Go back to the white. There you go. There you go. Oh, this is great. There you go. See? See how that works? A little bit more white here. Now we have a nice stirring ocean. Oh yeah, this is good. Let's lighten this area up. Pull this color down a little bit. Let's let that live. We come in here and add some more darker variations closer to the edges. Bring in some of that in. Then we can say there's maybe a line over here and over here. Let's go back here just to add some. Now, you see that little light color back there? This is really cool. For this, you could just pretend there's a little wave back there. But just adding a little white, go right over it. Maybe there's another wave, some kind of a movement right here. Just to break up the dark, but not to destroy it. And we're going to come a little bit more, add a little bit here. It's your ocean. Play with the variations as you see it. It's art. But I'm keeping all of my waves kind of moving in the same direction. Now, as I get closer here, maybe there's some really good white ones that are stirring up. down in his area. See that? And then maybe there's even a nice bright one right here. Just making like a cloud, like a swirly shape. Just letting it filter off, fade out. There you go. Now you see how it's crashing, coming forward. Maybe add some down in this area, maybe a little bit over here. And you can do the exact same thing with the ocean with blue. You could take some of the blue and just come right in and just wave it up a little bit. That just adds to the movement, see? Right above, right below. Soften it up a little bit. Maybe there's some little pockets of blue all in here. This just helps change. But you see, the water has movement. That's really all we want. We just want it to have a flow, have a movement. Now we're going to come back and we're going to take and clean off our brush. Because this is our white wave that's breaking on the ocean, breaking on the land. I'm going to show you a little trick in a minute. Now we're going to take some more white. And we're just going to go right along here. We're going to kind of scrub it. Just so that it has a little bit more of a shape to it. And we're just going to scrub it by circle, circle, circle movements. Right along where we made that line. See? This is the wave that's actually crashing to shore. So now we're just going to exaggerate our movement. See how that white area tells us where we're going. The blue kind of tells us where to stop. But we're softly blending those two together. There. So now we have our wave crashing to the shore. We have movement in our water. If you wanted to, you could clean off your brush. You could always go into some dark blue and then just add some more darkness towards the back. It just helps, see? See how I'm filtering around that wave we made? But look how much darker that part is. So you could come here. Let's make this area darker. See, just by adding straight blue right back over what we did just to enrich the painting a little bit more. Have this to stand out. Look at that. You could even take some of this blue, and let's say there's a nice blue element of water that's right here before the waves crash. See? You could spend hours and hours and hours creating the elements and the depth and the colorations that you want in your ocean. I mean, you can be as detailed about this as you want to. But for purposes of this painting, I'm just going to show you some tips on how. Then you decide how far you want to go. And see, this is what I meant when I said, even if you're a seasoned artist, you can take this and now have a better understanding. You could take a paint and peel and explore even further your own levels of creativity. That's good enough for me. Okay, there's my ocean. There's my wave. Here's my basic beach. Now we're going to clean off this brush. We're going to put it down for a second. We're going to pick up this little script liner brush. Now this is interesting. I like to maybe tap water, but don't push it. Just tap water. Don't use the napkin. Come into some of this burnt umber. Turn the brush around and around with your finger. Like that kind of a motion. Keep that tip. Because what you're going to do is you're going to drag that tip right here. Right along the edge. Along the beach. And along the wave. And that's going to help create a shadow. Doesn't have to all be the same, but you're just going to drag it. You see how it's starting to look like it's breaking? You don't want to make it too fat. So keep it thin. We just go here. Just paint. See? And this you're going to do until you're satisfied with your break. Because this is my wave hitting the beach. And that's the shadow of it. Excuse me. Here we go. There you go. That's just going to help give the illusion of a shadow for this wave. That's all we're doing here. See, doesn't have to be the same widths, doesn't have to connect all the way. You just want to give the indication that there's a shadow underneath that wave. See that? You can smooth it out as much as you want. There you go. It's good enough. It's going to make this area a little darker. There. It's good enough for me. What do you think? Now you could also take and twirl that brush in the umber and then make yourself some bigger rocks just by letting the dark color just sit right there. Like that's a pebble or some kind of a stone. Maybe there's a few of them together here. You know, as the wave breaks back on the ocean, you know, it shows and reveals some of those little pebbles and shells that are really dark. So you just add a few of those. You even bring some here. You know, this just gives the picture more depth. You already sprinkled. Now you're literally making a bunch of dots just to give more indication of those little pebbles we used to walk around the beach and pick up when we were kids. Or heck, some of us still do it now. All right, see how it adds variation? Now this is another trick. Just going to take the brush. Just want the brush to be wet. Going to pick up a small amount of this sienna. And I'm going to come where my decals are. And maybe I'll paint around them a little bit. Because then that's going to be a shadow when I pick it up. So let's say for the star, I put one that's here. Maybe one goes here. Maybe one goes right there. Maybe there's one on this side too. They're not going to show up now, but they'll show up later. Even in the water, there's one that's going this shell, maybe that's right here. Again, it's not going to make sense right away. You know, find the star. Go here. We could always do it afterwards. So if you can't see them all, it's okay. It's okay. We'll come back and I'll show you how to dress those up. Now at this point, what we want to do is we want to let all of this set up. Now we have 6 different elements. 2 stars, 3 shells, and 1 small conch-like shell. Just going to darken this up a little bit here. You see, I'm looking at them and I kind of know where they are. I know for you that's going to be a little difficult, so don't worry, we'll come back. Now what we're going to do is we're going to let this dry a little bit, and then we're going to come back and finish it up. I'm not going to stop the video, but I'm going to pause it, and when we come back, we'll pick up from it when it dries, maybe about 5 minutes. Okay, now we've let it set up and dry, and you could check that by using the back of your hand. There are some wet areas up in there, but we're not going to be working up in there. We're going to be working right down in here where the peel-offs are. And I put back my brush and the spatula. Now the spatula is great for putting your finger on the item and just pushing along the edges of one, just to try to get it to peel up a little bit. And then once you get it to peel up, you could just easily scrape it right off. Takes a couple of minutes, but the idea is that you have a nice smooth line. So you see how I have this 1 star, and I'm just going to very slowly take it off there. And that's what the peel off does. It gives you an item that you would otherwise have to paint. Now for purposes of the video, just so we can move along, I'm actually going to be pulling in my X-Acto knife. Now the spatula is for you to work on. I couldn't afford and or didn't want to give out such sharp instruments as part of the package. But if you have something like this or a butter knife, you could always use that. And I'm just going to go in here and very quickly try and remove all of the peels so that we can get on with our painting. Maybe the spatula might work better for me because I can scrape a little bit. So let's see. Using it back. Yeah, there you go. Again, it takes a few minutes, but it'll all come up. See, it's really not that difficult. It's really, really simple. Really, really easy. And there are 6 different items. See? And they're all placed on or about in the same areas. So all you have to do is use your hand to feel for them. Or just use your X-Acto knife to scrape for them. This one's that little conch shell. And this is why you want to let it dry. So you can just push. See? Get some of it up. And then we have one more star, which should be right in this area here. Let's get this one up. Just bear with me. There you go. Once you get it started, everything falls into place. There you are. So there's our items. And you see my little shadows? We're going to come back in there in a second. Because basically what we want to do now is just put some decorations. So let's say for this star right here, this would be a decoration for me. I'm not going to paint to the edge, but I'm going to pick up some of this raw sienna. Maybe even a little white. Just to get some color on the brush. And I'm going to go right inside of it and create another star that looks sort of like this. Just to give it some shape. Just like that. That's good. Then I'm going to go over here and do the same thing with the one in the water. Just going to paint right down the middle, leaving the edges, just so you can see it. We'll come back and decorate it more in a second. Then I'm going to come over here with some of this. And I'm going to make a little bit of an arc right in the back. And maybe just some lines. Just to give that shell look. See? That's quick. That's easy. Come over here on this one. And I'm going to show you where we're going to go inside this one. This is the back. This one is one that's on the inside. So I'm just going to create a little pattern like this. Come back to that in a few moments. And our other one is also on its back. So I'm just going to make a little line here. And then just create some lines like that. For this particular shell, I'm going to take the same color. I'm going to touch a little bit over here. Maybe right along here. There's a little design. See, that gets me started. I'm going to go into the burnt umber. Let's go to this one. Go right to the back. Put some of this in here. And this will act as the shadow for the inside of this shell. And then there's some other designs on this one that kind of looks like that. See? And then we could take and create our shadows again. Like I was telling you, that goes right around the outer edge. So it has a little bit of a shadow to it. This is the burnt umber I'm using. For this shell, I'm going to come right around the outside over here. Like that. Remember the star? I'm going to go up here a little bit. Down here a little bit. And even with this, you could just make some dots. Just give a few dots in it. Just to give it a little decoration. Just going to go right along the edge here. And maybe over here there's a shadow that goes right around the outside there. Now for all intent and purpose, this is done. This is our painting. You can go back along the beach line if you want. Putting in some of this dark color. Just making the line a little darker around the beach water. See that? You could add some more stones on the beach, more rocks on the beach. But this is where you get to detail your piece of art. And again, with this, you can spend hours and hours and hours and hours. Just taking the brush and saying there's a rock here, there's more here. I wouldn't speckle right now, but just some of the dots is fine. Just taking the brush and creating some little design patterns like this on your starfish. Heck, even on this shell. Come here, go darker, back up in here. This one's the one that's open on the beach. And there you have it. Your beautiful beach scene. Done in like no time. And you are now an artist. And you can expand on this and create all kind of different things. Footprints, people. You can do whatever you like. There. I'm just gonna add. See how I don't go around all 5. I just went around here in this area here maybe. My light is coming from this way, so those are like my shadows. And there's my beach scene. You could sign it, call it a day. And don't forget, you could always subscribe to our video on YouTube, J. Robinson Art. See what's there. This painting's there. Seashells by the seashore. You could always give us a like or a thumbs up. And you could always go to Peiloff.com to order any individual kits that you would like. Well, I hope you had fun. I know I did. This is easy. This is creative. It's one way of being inside and letting loose that inner artist that's inside you. So until next time, let's have some fun, push around a few colors, and be creative. Thank you.